Welcome to this week's edition of Utopia Football Insider. Chris Ransom and filling in for Warren Sheary this week is William. 16 games, final week of the regular season. We're ready to rock and roll. And we're going to start with Cleveland, the city that hosts the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, versus the Baltimore Ravens, the team that the original Browns relocated to. We're sorry for Browns fans that had to go through that, but it's Art Modell's fault. We're not going to get into a rant about it like Joey. Browns Ravens. Browns are playing a fourth string quarterback and a third string running back. I'm going to pick the Ravens 20-3. The point spread is -20 for Baltimore. -20. That is the Ravens
20.
are favored. So basically, the Ravens have to win by 21 to cover the spread. I think it's going to be a defensive game. I think the Ravens win, but I think it's a low-scoring game, very bland game, 20-3. Ravens 20, Browns 3, and the Browns cover the spread.
I think the Ravens backups are probably definitely a whole lot better than the Browns backups. And like you said, defense, Cleveland, they've got a tough defense. Baltimore always has. I'm definitely taking the Ravens. I mean, I'll take them 24-13. That's maybe a little bit more high than I want to go.
Yeah,
whatever.
The Bengals play the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I like the Bengals in this one. Joe Burrow, they're motivated. They're fired up. I mean, the Steelers, I know they're talking about the fundamentals on HBO Hard Knocks, but they just don't come across as a team that's fired up right now this late in the season. They don't. I know they're talking about fundamentals and they're doing all the right things in-house, but the Bengals just seem to want it more. And I think that's going to matter on Saturday night. I like the Bengals.
I definitely concur with that as well. Joe Burrow is the expectations in Cincinnati were real high, and they have a real chance at going out. There's not as much pressure on a first-year quarterback like Russell Wilson or anything like that. I think Burrow will be on a rant. So I'll take the Bengals. We'll take them 32-24.
That sounds like a good. Only player for the Bengals that's out is Sam Hubbard. Everybody else is healthy. Next game is. Let's see the order here. Why did I put Bills Patriots at third on the news ticker? Oh well, it's like 7th now. But when we were ranking the games in the search engines earlier in the week, this was third. It's still a 1 p.m. game though, so we'll go with it. I'm going to take the Patriots to beat the Bills. The Bills have already said we're playing our backups, and the Patriots, Alex Van Pelt, we don't care that we're out of it and we have the number 1 pick. We want to win this game. So, and look, if the worst case scenario for the Patriots, they beat the Bills, they move down to 4 in the draft. But they'll probably still they're looking at 2 guys at 1. They're looking at Travis Hunter. They're looking at LSU left tackle Will Campbell. If they want LSU left tackle Will Campbell just as bad as they want Hunter, they have nothing to lose and everything to gain by trying to win this game because it's a wash. If you win, you move down to 4. You're probably still going to get Campbell with Shadur, Hunter, and Cam Ward being the top 3 picks in that order. I don't know who would get Hunter, but I'm not going to open up that can of worms right now. But if there's another guy on your board besides Travis Hunter and it's not a quarterback, the odds are you're still going to get that player at 4 if you beat the Bills. So
yeah, if you have the value there, I can definitely see that. This is a rivalry game, and I think Drake May is going to go out, with a bang. So I definitely picked the Patriots in this one. I liked what I saw against him. He dropped a dime against them the week before last, whenever it was, and I think it might be pretty close. I'll say 28-27, 1 point.
I like that score. I'm going to go Patriots 27, Bills 23. Saints play the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by 14. I think it's going to be closer than that. I'm going to go 27-21 Buccaneers, but the Saints cover the spread. Still debating on this game, but Carr is out. Spencer Rattler starting. And I tweeted a few weeks ago, it'd be the most hilarious thing ever would be if Spencer Rattler went into Tampa won this game a la Josh McCown during his rookie year against the Vikings and knocked Baker out of the playoffs. I don't think that happens, William, but it would be hilarious if it did. And then you'd start seeing the first round mock tweets. See, my quarterback one just beat Baker Mayfield.
No. No. I think the Buccaneers are definitely going to win. I love Baker Mayfield, and I love what can transpire there, and I think he'll be on a rampage. Even though he got paid this year, he got a lot of things. He wants to make damn good impression, and he's just that fire leader that he is. So I'll take them 31-17 over the Saints. I like Rattler, but yeah, I think New Orleans has some work to do.
The next game is Panthers-Falcons in Atlanta. I am taking the Atlanta Falcons to win this one. I think they just want to finish above 500, and basically if the Buccaneers slip up, they have a chance to steal the division. So that's the thought process there, but I'm going to take the Falcons to win that one. And I'm going to go 27-24. I think the Panthers keep this relatively close. What's weird is the point spread went up from -2.5 to -7.5. A lot of point spreads have been moving at rapid rates. Ravens was originally only 18, 17.5. It's at 20 now. A lot of these point spreads are moving by big margins, bigger margins than usual, which means either some of these teams are going to play their starters in the final week of the regular season and the sports books are adjusting that, or there's just something really weird behind the scenes going on that we don't know about, William. But I'm going to take the
conspiracy theorists.
I'm going to take the Falcons by a field goal for now, but I may end up changing that when I do the write-up later tonight.
Yeah, I'll take the Falcons, and I'll take them 21-13.
All right,
over the Panthers.
Commanders,
that sounds good enough.
Commanders play the Cowboys. It would be hilarious if Cooper Rush swept Jaden Daniels. It's not going to happen, though. Jaden's going to get even with Rush after losing to him at home earlier in the year. And, Cowboys, there's always there is they put Kenny Pickett on the We Dem Boys meme last week, and people got pissed off that they didn't put Tanner McKee on the meme. Tanner McKee came in for Kenny Pickett, played better than Pickett, and they always post the We Dem Boys meme when the Cowboys lose. Jaden Daniels has not made a cameo on the We Dem Boys meme yet. He has to. So he has to make a cameo on that meme. What?
Yeah, just so everyone out there knows, this is a Redskins jersey here, so I don't hate Jaden Daniels one bit. I have some constructive criticism for it. He's doing really well this rookie year. He's going to win, offensive rookie of the year. It's going to be over Bo Nix, and that's just because, he's had more of a spotlight on him than Nix has. And I liked him in my final evaluation on him. I had a 3rd round grade, and that was mostly because I figure he's going to get killed in this league running the way he does. And, but I was struggling with trying to put a 1st round grade on him. I really wanted to, as much as I could, I couldn't. And I think I'll take Jaden right here, and I'll take them 31-28 over the Cowboys. Be a little bit higher scoring game.
Yep. I'm leaning 31-28 right now, but it's still early. The Bears play the Packers. This went from -2.5 to -10 for the point spread for this game. It went up 7.5 points. That doesn't happen. Point spreads don't just balloon like that. So are the Bears playing are the Packers, and the Packers, well, Packers can win, Cowboys win, Packers can still get the 6th seed. There were probably rumors earlier in the week that the Packers were going to rest their starters, and now that we know that they can jump the Commanders for the 6th seed, if the Commanders lose, they're probably playing their starters. and Vegas probably figured that out. So I would say that's probably why the point spread jumped from -2.5 to -10. I can't think of a other explanation, William. I really
Outside
can't.
of those conspiracy theories.
I mean, the Packers. There was speculation they'd rest their starters since they pretty much have a wild card locked up, but because they can jump the Commanders if the Cowboys win, they'd be the 6th seed if the Cowboys won versus the 7th seed, meaning they'd play the Rams instead of the Eagles, which is a much better matchup for the Packers. So, but maybe there were some rumors they were cool with playing the Eagles, and that turned out to be hogwash. The sports books adjusted accordingly. But I think the Packers are going to win this. I'll go 31-20 Packers.
Yeah, it's going to be the Packers. I mean, it generally most all the time is the Packers up there, and I'll take the Packers 35-21.
All right. The next game is the Jaguars and the Colts. It is Mac Jones versus Joe Flacco. Yeah, I'm gonna take Joe Flacco to lose. I like the I don't know, for some reason I feel like Mac Jones is gonna win this game.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take the Jaguars.
I feel you there. Indianapolis Colts are funny, They've got Anthony Richardson back there, and he's kind of your walking, talking, throw it up and pray kind of quarterback, not knowing what's downfield and such. And Flacco comes in, and of course Josh Downs always has a huge game, and usually a really good game. I know he's on my fantasy team. I drafted him both rounds, but both teams last year.
Richardson did good, but he would miss week 17 with an injury, and it's a disc injury in his back. He said he was having difficulty walking. He was crawling in his house, and Colts really didn't do anything to rectify that situation. Their medical team didn't. There might be some durability concerns with Richardson, but I'm also looking at the Colts medical team in a different light, kind of like how I looked at the Chargers doctors after the Tyrod Taylor incident a few years ago. So, yeah, but I'm going to take the Jaguars to beat the Colts 21-19. Very bland game.
Yeah. Funny thing about backs, I have a terrible one, and I know all about those getting crammed up and sciatica and not being able to move. The one thing is, with a bulge disc, you can get it out of your back. A chiropractor can do that for, $50 or $100, whatever you want to pay. And I don't see that on the, I'm sure they got a few of those on the medical team so much. But if it's herniated, then, a lot of times you have to go back in for surgery and all kinds of stuff. And yes, I have crawled through my house and all kinds of other things, but Anthony Richardson, he just needs to take it easy on himself and learn how to slide and duck. But I'll take the Colts and what was the score you said?
I went with the Jaguars 21-19 over the Colts. The Colts are favored by 4.5 on the spread, though.
Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna go 9-13 here. I just had to make sure, I'm gonna not pick the same numbers as you, or flip it, whatever.
Yes, the Giants are gonna play the Eagles. I'm gonna go 20-14 Giants in overtime. Drew Lock continues to sabotage the Giants' draft position.
I like Lock. I've talked about him a
Tanner
lot.
McKee's first start. Hurts is out, Pickett's out. So Drew Lock continues his ruining the Giants draft position, and I think
yeah, and that sucks that they're not going to let Saquon go after the record, and everything. But I definitely agree it's going to be the Giants, and because I like Drew Lock a little bit better than Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee is a good quarterback. I saw a few issues with him. I'm not sure if he was over disciplined or just kind of not knowing what he was doing on the field. But, I really liked him when I first saw him. I had to adjust his draft grade accordingly a little bit after that. The first one I ever really dropped, but I put him in the 4th round. And, that shows good for whatever it is. But I'll take Drew Lock because I like him as a quarterback. And I think, he can do something, and he's going to definitely try to go off the field and getting himself, a contract this next spring, and free Drew Lock. And I'll take 31 to 27.
All right. And the next game is the Texans and the Titans. The Texans have the 4 seed locked up. So I'm going to, this is tough for me because the Texans, we don't know if the Texans are playing their starters or backups, but it sounds like they are going to play their backups. DeMeco Ryans is not holding anything back. He's not pulling any punches. And the Texans seem happy with what they've got. But for some reason, I feel like the Titans are going to pull the upset. Well, right now, this game's going to decide the number 1 pick because I have the Patriots and Giants both winning, which means if the Titans lose this game, they get the number 1 pick. And if they win, the Browns get the number 1 pick. So, and Will Levis is getting the start. So that's what makes this difficult. Because if the Texans do not play Stroud, I do think the Titans win this game, but they haven't said, okay, Titans are wearing their throwback uniforms, the Oilers throwback uniforms. So they're going to win. We're giving them the win based on that alone. We're rewarding them for wearing the throwbacks against the Texans.
I love that, bro. And they absolutely hate it down there in Houston. It's like, dude, that is just home excellent.
Team, but they're wearing the Houston Oiler throwbacks in front of the Texans in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the Titans. I'm going to reward the Titans for wearing the Oiler throwbacks. They're going to get the win, and the Browns are going to get the number 1 pick. Thanks to all the chaos that's ensued with these 3-13 teams.
All right, man. Who did you say was starting for? You say Levis was starting?
Levis is starting.
I can't go with Levis, man. I like CJ Stroud, and he is slightly regressed this year, but that seems to generally happen, second year, and it's just a process, whatever it is. Oh, there's game film on and out, whatever excuse they want.
Jaden's probably going to regress next year too, but he'll probably rebound in years 3 and 4 because years 3 and 4 is scheduled. Tony Mario pointed out power rankings earlier in the week. Jaden Daniels' schedule in 2026 and 2027 is a lot easier than this year or next year. And Jaden Daniels is going to have to face the Packers, Chiefs, Chargers all on the road next year, in addition to the NFC East. And he's going to have to face the Broncos. That could go either way. So, I mean, I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump like Stroud, but I think he rebounds in years 3 and 4 because I think the strength of schedule in 26 and 27, like Tony pointed out, it's probably easier versus this year. And this year they had a tough schedule and they showed up.
Yeah. So, you have to think of this, the Texans were a terrible team, for the last 5 years before this, whatever. I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me, please. But no, CJ Stroud will be fine. And I don't see any problem with him. I mean, he was my QB1 and I mean, usually when they shit the bed, there's their second year. I mean, their team's out of the playoffs and everything else. So that just fits that. And I still got to go with the Texans here, though.
Yeah. The next game features the Chiefs and the Broncos. It's in Denver. Broncos are favored by 10.5. I'm going with Carson Wentz to defeat Bo Nix.
See, you knew which games. We were going to agree at the beginning, and then, at the end, it was going to come apart like this and we were going to start arguing. And, then I was going to mention it was rivalry week and I wanted to see if, Baker Mayfield was going to plant a flag in the middle of the field. But go ahead, man. You're good.
Bo Nix I think Bo Nix, for some reason, as good as he is, I think Carson Wentz, this is a redemption game for Carson Wentz, because if Carson Wentz handles business here, that's going to give him an opportunity to maybe play somewhere else, or maybe he wants to stay in Kansas City and be the backup. But for some reason, I feel like Carson Wentz is going to win this game, and the Chiefs are putting most of their guys on the injury report. Mahomes, Kels, we know they're not injured, but they're putting the guys on the injury report to justify resting them. Just tell people you're going to rest your guys and make them inactive. You don't have to put them on the injury report when we know that for a fact that they are not injured.
They wanted to seem dramatic, when they get that far, they want all those Swifties to be like, oh my God, things like that. They're going to be like, we were so injured at the end of the year. They missed this game and we came back and won. Oh my God. Anyway, go ahead.
That's just insane, though.
Okay,
yeah. So I like the Chiefs here. Sean Hockley is calling the Chiefs-Broncos game. I'll look up Hockley's record with both teams, just because I know there are some people that are pissed he's calling this game, but he's one of the more neutral refs when it comes to the Chiefs. But I do want to see. Okay, so Sean Hockley, he called the Chiefs-Ravens game in the opener. That's the only game he called all year, the Chiefs-Ravens opener. He also called the Chiefs divisional round game against the Bills last year and the Chiefs win over New England. He also called the Chiefs win over the Broncos last year in October. And I'm looking to see when the last time the Chiefs lost a game under Sean Hockley. They lost to the Chargers in 2021 in Justin Herbert's second year. That was the last time they lost a game officiated by Hockley. They've won 5 in a row against Hockley. The Chiefs have. They've won 5 in a row.
Yeah, in this game, I am, well, obviously, if you can tell from the beginning, picking the Broncos. I said Bo Nix, was going to win, Rookie of the Year. And I just don't think he got that. And I think he's going to have a little bit of extra fire, trying to do something and, go up against whatever, the Chiefs. Even though they got Carson Wentz, whatever, it's still going to be a good way to, and that's the only way that they're getting into the playoffs. So, I mean, if they lose.
It's a good time to be a Denver sports fan. Like I said earlier today, William, I mean, the Colorado Rapids got the best player in the MLS draft by trading up from 8 to 4. So you potentially could have Alex Harris, the number 1 player in the MLS draft that fell to 4, and Bo Nix until 2040. You could potentially have both of those guys on the Broncos and the Rapids in the state of Colorado until 2040. I would give it a 30% chance, which, for both to be there that long. So I think the odds are that high, and if that's the case, it'll be exciting to see what happens with Colorado and the Denver Broncos. As long as those teams don't screw up the development with these promising rookies, it looks really bright for both of those teams. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'll take the Broncos, and I'll take it. Let's put this like 28-20. We'll give them just a little bit of extra. Forget it. Make it 31-20. I like that.
I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go 31-28 Chiefs. And the Chiefs have not scored over 30 all year. So this will be the only game where the Chiefs score 30. It'd be hilarious if this was the only game all season where the Chiefs scored 30 points. And it was with Carson Wentz starting. Because people could look at that and say, well, the Chiefs three-peated, but the only game where they scored 30 points was the game where Carson Wentz started. I think that ruffles some feathers.
Yeah. Definitely.
If you bring that up. So, And I just think the thought of the Chiefs' only 30-point game coming in this game with Carson Wentz starting would be hilarious in its own right.
Yeah, and anybody that listens to me picking these games should know that I'm not very good at picking games. I'm good at everything else in football, just not this.
The Dolphins play the Jets. The Dolphins are favored by 1. I am taking the Jets to win. I jokingly tweeted yesterday that after the Jets interview Shrine Bowl director Eric Galco, they're going to interview me on Friday. They're going to interview my friend Bill Carroll while Aaron Rodgers and Tua go on their darkness retreat, and then they're going to interview everyone else on Twitter on Black Monday. So everybody who has a Twitter account is getting interviewed by the Jets on Black Monday. I basically tweeted that, quote tweeting Adam Schefter, and it was a joke. It was not intended to be taken seriously. That's just me trolling the NFL, but that's how bad the Jets have become, William, that I have to intervene and troll the franchise until they correct course.
Yeah, I got the Dolphins in this one. I mean, they feel like they have playoff hopes, and even if they don't by my last pick, but I definitely have to pick them. The Jets are a mess. Their offensive line was terrible. The quarterback was terrible. I mean, their quarterbacks have been terrible. They kind of always have been. But
I think Rodgers is going to retire because
that's what it sounded like the other day. What I heard.
He's not saying it now, but based on what, because there's a few teams Rodgers would want to play for, and the Browns and Titans are the top 2 that Rodgers would want to play for. And I don't think the Jets are going to trade Rodgers to an AFC team. So, and if he doesn't want to go back to the Jets and the Jets won't trade him, I think he's just going to retire and basically just continue to drag the Jets down a rabbit hole of mediocrity.
Yeah. I really want to see what, Jordan Travis is capable of, but that injury must have been damn serious because, he's still on the physically unable to perform list. But like I said, Travis has got a chance. I had a first round grade on him, and then that injury happened. I mean, he is a little guy, might not be the biggest, but
I had a 4th round grade on Travis, but the value the Jets got him at was exceptional value. So,
yeah. And I think he might be able to do something, but that depends on the coaching and the line that they put in front of him. And they've got all the skill position players. They've got defense, everything, but they don't have a quarterback.
The 49ers play the Cardinals. Yeah, Kyler Murray was on fire before the Call of Duty Black Ops game came out. He literally was, and his numbers have gotten worse since Call of Duty Black Ops came out. I wasn't.
That's a correlation for real.
Yes.
Oh man, I've got to hear this because I mean that thing they put in his contract about or whatever they tried to say wasn't in his contract about watching film.
Kyler Murray this season before Call of Black Ops Duty 6 was released, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Kyler Murray since Call of Duty 6 was released, 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So Kyler Murray had 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions before Call of Duty 6 was released. And now he has 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions since that video game came out.
Well, me and call me Shirley. I mean, that sounds pretty freaking wow to me. Maybe they should put that back in his contract about watching film. I just figured maybe he was doing well. With a. I mean, the team he's got, Trey McBride, has become, one of the top tight ends in the league, if not the best, which I think he just might be. Besides George Kittle, Travis Kelce, it might be top 5. Slot boy.
Yeah, Cardinals, if you want to put on a show for draft day, put an Xbox in your war room. I don't think any NFL team has like a video game console in their war room. If you put an Xbox in your war room, we will be under the illusion that Kyler Murray might be playing Xbox in your war room. He might be playing Call of Duty in your war room.
Oh my God. Where were we?
You're picking the 49ers over the Cardinals, correct?
Dude, I can't root against my team. I mean, I think there's going to be a little bit of something there to a little bit extra motivation. You know, it's like I said, rivalry week again, just like, you know, they always do.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle Shanahan's ever been swept by the Cardinals.
No. And I don't think he wants that, you know. I mean, after what happened, you know, with the Rams and everything else. But, you know, other than that, Brock Purdy is still, you know, he's still done pretty good. He's still literally been, you know, pretty much a top 5 quarterback with 4th string wide receivers and, you know, just a bunch of injuries and no Christian McCaffrey, and just like my fantasy team, you know, went down the tubes.
Yeah, my fantasy team went down the tubes too, over 200 points, and I still lost. That was the first league championship game in the BFFL league where both owners got 200 points and one had to lose.
Week 10, I still had a chance at the playoffs. By week 15, I'm already drafting Ashton Jeanty. So, oops. It was a bad year, man. And Josh Allen, I mean, he was pretty well, you know, trying to win games for me, but, you know, still only won a few. It's a pretty tight league, so we'll go with that.
Yep. And then next up, it is Seahawks Rams. The Rams are going to win. I just feel like the Rams are going to win. They might be playing their backups. I don't know, but, you know, Seahawks can't make the playoffs. So
did I like not? Oh yeah, they're starting Garoppolo. They are.
Yeah, the Rams are starting Garoppolo.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great.
He is like top 10 like all time in wins for winning percentage. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo. That's not a joke. That's not. And
Cincy Jungle just tweeted a picture of a Bengals fan praying that Carson Wentz and Aaron Rodgers win. And like the kids got Bengals pajamas and there's a photo of Rodgers and Carson Wentz in the background and he's praying to them not to screw this up.
Yeah. Well then. Yeah, no. Yeah, Carson Wentz and them can, yeah. I don't like the Chiefs. This isn't my show, so I'm not going to say it. But where were we?
We're on the
Seahawks Rams.
Rams.
Yeah, I think it's another rivalry game. I don't think the Seahawks are good enough to beat the Rams. I just don't. And I'll go with the Rams. Give me the Rams by a touchdown. What's that make? I'll make like 27 to 20. That gets me, man. Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yep. The next game is the Chargers and the Raiders in Las Vegas. I'm going to take the Chargers here. I think we will see both Dean Spanos and Mark Davis hand Tom Telesco, the former Chargers GM turned Raiders GM, pink slips. They will both hand him the Raiders pink slip on Monday morning.
That's probably a pretty good pick. I mean,
or maybe Mark Davis just has Telesco bring him the Raiders pink slip just because he can.
Is Baby Farva still starting for Las Vegas?
The Raiders are. I think the Chargers are gonna play Herbert because if the Steelers lose and they win, they jump the Steelers. They'd play the Texans. They wouldn't have to play the Ravens. There's an incentive for playing the Texans because with all the injuries the Texans have, the Steelers and Chargers can beat the Texans in Houston right now. If Tank Dell was healthy, Diggs was healthy, Texans might have a chance, but
no, man.
with that multiple guards, multiple defensive tackles, multiple receivers injured, I don't think Houston has a chance against either the Chargers or Steelers, and it's because of the injuries, not because they can't win. It's because of the injuries. And even if they do win, they would get smoked by the Bills, Chiefs, or Ravens in the divisional round, the way they've been playing as of late. So,
yeah,
I think the Chargers win this 27-19 Chargers.
Yeah, and that rift in the Raiders locker room, last season, I think that continued, and they have some decent players that they can do some decent things with, but I still think the Chargers are on their way up, and they definitely don't want to lose, even though no one wants to go out of the regular season like that. I'll take Herbert and the Chargers, and Lad McConkey. Not a lot of people talk about him, but he's doing a hell of a job. I know he was on my fantasy team too. I mean,
yeah, he's a player that I might try to trade for. Depends.
I picked him at number 7.
I already know what owner's going to use a keeper on him, and the owner that got him in the 8th round of last year's draft. So it only cost that owner an 8th round keeper to keep him out of 17 rounds, which is pretty good value because you got at least 4 more years of McConkey if you want to stash him for all 4 of those years, like the George did, because George beat me to win the league title, but he got Jamar Chase in the 7th round. Then he used a 7th round keeper, 5th round keeper. Then this year, 3rd round keeper got the title.
Yeah.
And he can use a 1st round keeper on him, but with Brian Thomas Jr. and Brock Bowers on his team, it's like you can use keepers on them instead of Chase and just reload. You don't have to use that 1st round keeper on Chase, even though you probably should if you're going to repeat next year. But if you want to play the long game like I do, you keep the rookies, keep Brian Thomas Jr. and keep Bowers. But yeah.
But no.
As far as the Sunday night game goes, is the main game. It's the Vikings-Lions, Darnold versus Goff, Jefferson versus St. Brown. I'm going to take the Lions to win this. They are going to win. And I like the Detroit Lions to improve to 15-2.
Ooh. And
they are going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah. I've got to take the Vikings, I said before the season, they're going to have a hard time, taking Sam Darnold out, when J.J. McCarthy gets healthy, and he's done just that. And, even though he's got a 1-year contract, I think they're going to either put, some big money in front of him, or they're, going, if all else fails, they could just franchise him, and then sign him to a deal after that. But I don't think it'll take that. I don't know if it'll take that much. But I'm taking Darnold, and I'll take them real close, 34-33. Goff's a good player, and that was one guy that, I compared C.J. Stroud to, when he was coming out. And, just the way they play, and their arms are quite a bit alike, just to throw that little tidbit in there.
I think Goff is going to win, and the Lions are going to get the 1 seed. But a lot of chaos will ensue if the Vikings end up with the 1 seed.
Yeah. I'd like to see it. I like the Lions, and I feel for their strife. That's got to be some pretty tough fans up there to deal with that all those years. I mean, it's got to be incredibly tough. That had to be a killer with my Niners.
Yeah, I think the Lions are going to win, and that'll be it for this week. We'll be back in just over 12 hours for tomorrow's show, where William, Joey, and I break down the punter rankings. We got 5 punters. And then I don't know what we'll talk about after that, but we'll figure that out then. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into Utopia Football Insider. Orange should be back for the playoffs.
And then come see me on Under the Bleachers, and Chris, and we're all there next Wednesday.
If Orange is not back for the playoffs, maybe I'll do a third show with William for the wild card or divisional round, but we'll figure it out once we get stuff for next week. And we'll probably put a poll question of all the wild card games up on Monday morning, so you can vote on whoever you want to see on the cover of the wild card games. We've had 4 players in the cover twice this year: Brock Purdy, Josh Allen, TJ Watt, Lamar Jackson. Those are the 4 that have been on the cover twice for the NFL predictions. So we'll have a wild card poll question. But Lamar Jackson's going to be on the cover this week for the second time. But we'll have a wild card poll question for Super Wild Card Weekend. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Later, guys.
And punt around.